Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Sloppy Lab. This is Bottom of the Beaker, the weekly show about the design, ducks, and strategy of Keyforge. Everyone, and I mean everyone's favorite unique deck game. I am the anecdotally gluey. Did I use that already? JT Russell. And with me tonight is a man who says that if he has one more piece of advice for you going into Kagi Live at KFC weekend, it's that 3,457 chains is probably too many. Probably too many to bid on that adaptive deck. I am, of course, talking about Quick Draw 3457. How we doing, Quick Draw?
I'm great this evening, thank you. Anecdotally gluey, and I would say 3,457 chains is too many, but I usually like to bid somewhere between 3 and 7, but never 6.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Well, we have a full crew of sloppies in the lab, and I promised this man here that I would not make the same old tired joke next time he came on. So I'll let what's on stream speak for itself. Uh, but I will say we welcome heartily the big hearted, boundary breaking, brimming with brilliance, a beacon of bold ideas and boundless energy. Yes, folks, brace yourselves for the breathtaking, beloved Behawk. Welcome, Mr. Ben Behawk.
Hello.
How we doing?
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here.
Yeah, huh?
Wow, JT, that was just incredible.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was,
I
But
hope
yeah.
you can follow that up for the last friend we have on tonight. Do you have something?
It's this one's weaker. I apologize. I apologize. But yeah, taking a break from browsing his IMDb page, where he has a prominent note as the MacGuffin in the original Mission Impossible. Welcome, JDG314, aka Josh. How we doing?
Doing pretty well this evening.
Uh huh. Excellent. Welcome, folks. I'm going to take the Behawk joke off the screen too. If you know, you know.
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Behawk. Behawk's got to know. You know what's, you know what's going on. Anyway,
oh gosh.
All right, we're
Take
gonna
it off.
save it for bottom of the beaker after dark, I guess.
save it for after dark. Yeah. All right. Well, welcome, folks. This is going to be a fun one. We are here not just to chat, but to celebrate the century of sloppiness, as it were. The old, I mean, we are really scraping the bottom here. This is episode 100 of Bottom of the Beaker. And yeah, four of us on to chat this evening. So super pumped for that.
Crazy. 100 episodes is nuts. Really happy that B-Hawk and JDG could join us to celebrate. So thank you guys. Appreciate you guys being here.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Yeah, this is the payoff for the joke that was in our very first episode, numbering it with three digits. Like, I don't know if we'll be back next week, but we'll make room for three digits just in case.
Did
Now,
was that a joke in the week one?
I mean, it was ambitious, if not a joke, at the very least. So happy to be making use of it anyway. Now I like because all for the last what 2+ years been putting these files into my like folder full of like recordings. And I'm like, yeah, 001, 009, like feeling really dumb putting all these left padded zeros. I'm like, now it still sorts the right way. Well done. Well
Paying
done
off.
past me.
Love it.
Yeah, yeah. Also means we can't go past 9.99, but what are you gonna do? Yeah.
I'm okay with that concession. I think that's going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Well, and anyway, in any event, yeah, we got a doozy of a topic in store, very timely as well, with KFC right around the corner. Um, what are we talking about, peepers?
Yeah. So we're talking about managing stress and anxiety and pressure at high level events. We wanted to kind of time this up with KFC, with a lot of us going there next week, all four of us going there actually, and kind of talking about our experiences at premier level events, how we can handle that. And shout out to Floximal Orion, who kind of had this idea for a topic at first, as like he had mentioned it on one of his streams at one point, and I thought that's kind of a good thing to talk about. Like, if you're going to one of these premier level events, what can you do ahead of time or during the event to better prepare yourself for the pressure, the stress of being in a room for 3 or 4 days? constantly playing, perhaps high stress games, and what do you do to kind of better manage that yourself?
Hmm. Totally. And we should probably say too, actually, I'll speak for myself. I don't know y'all's background, but we're not, experts, clinical professionals, as it were. So we're kind of talking about, garden variety stresses and pressures that you feel going into these sorts of things. Have to say that my wife is actually a clinical social worker, so she'd be like, "Don't be overrepresenting your specialties, my friend." So
We should have had her on this week.
you've got the wrong Russell. Totally, you should have had yeah,
Story of my life.
Ke
Whew.
Russell instead of JT Russell. Totally.
But like all four of us here, we've been to a lot of premier level events, whether that's in Keyforge or in other games. So I do think that we can try to share some of our experience of what we've felt in these kind of events, and hopefully share some wisdom that people can take away and come better prepared next week when we go to KFC.
Totes. Totes. And I see Floxmal in the chat as well. Yes, welcome, sir. And thank you for the plugs earlier. We are very, very happy to be chatting about this topic. We're being selfish with 100th episode, or I think we may have invited you on to talk about it too. But love the content. Keep feeding the machine, my guy. Cool. So where should we begin? Where should we dive in here?
Well, so Ryan did give us a lot of his thoughts, and again, shout out for sharing a lot of that in-depth stuff, just to make sure that we hit on this. So, I think for me, like when I go to these events, I am very much a competitive player, and I get stressed about it. Whether it is just like a single, like going into the main event of an Archon, or maybe even sometimes like the side events, which are less stressful but still there. And I always try to prepare myself ahead of time when I'm going, like making sure I eat well, drink well, sleep well. Sometimes sleep is, kind of optional in these things, but everyone's different. And so I just feel like it's important to go into it understanding like, hey, like I might not have time to eat lunch some days, or I need to make sure that I drink enough water throughout the day. Like make sure you give yourself breaks. And that to me is like even just thinking about that and planning ahead of time is really important for how I feel. Because if I am not going in there and like if I'm not eating well, if I'm not sleeping very much, and especially if I'm not like hydrating, then I could definitely come out of it pretty sick, or like not feeling well, enjoy the weekend less. And so it's just important for me to take care of yourself physically while you're there during the week.
And I can also understand that there's stressors about just getting to the event and what your expectations might be. Who are you going to see? What if you don't know anyone? Uh, what if the travel's stressful? What if you don't know if you're going to get there in time for the event? Getting under a time crunch, that can be something. What if you miss your alarm in the morning? There's all sorts of things you can get worried about and fulfill that prophecy of adding stress to the situation, but always just try and keep cool. You can.
Yeah, travel is a big stressor for me. I'm not a fan of flying, and I will be flying. So, thankfully, I have a direct flight. I always am careful to get a direct flight because to me, it's way less stressful to know that, like, as long as I just get on my first plane and we take off on time, I will be there, right? So to me, that helps me a lot, like with the travel anxiety. Um, but BHawk, you're driving. I think the rest of us are flying, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've definitely not. I don't think for ever a Keyforge event. I've always been flying for ones that were not at my LGS. But I've definitely driven to Magic tournaments and been like watching the clock as I'm rolling in and be like, am I gonna get there? I don't know. And then it's like 10 minutes before the event starts, you're like, I can't find the place, and you're like circling some like mall or something. Like, where is the store? I
Hmm.
don't know. Yeah, get there, get there early, get yourself settled. You know what? I know we're maybe drifting from games, but like when I was in undergrad, I'd go into a test and I would go to a room 2 hours before the test started and just like sit there and review, but like be in the seat where I was gonna take the test and be like, I'm here. Like I'm not gonna like doze off or something, but also just like get in the vibes and like get myself settled mentally to be in the space where I was gonna take the exam. And that was the thing I would do. People would make fun of me, but like whatever. it's cool. It's my thing. So I
It's
feel
probably
I
it got
feel
you
it.
some good grades, I feel like.
It worked for me. I'll attribute what success I had to these things.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so like the Keyforge events are happening Thursday morning at a point where like it's not really realistic to get there Thursday morning. It's mo almost you have to just stay there Wednesday night,
Yep.
which just makes Wednesday into an entire travel day, which is kind of nice. And if you get there early enough, Game Center, I guess, is hosting some Keyforge night at 6 p.m.
I don't know the specific time, but yeah, I did hear that Wednesday night at Game Center is the Keyforge night. So if you are arriving Wednesday, you can plan on the Keyforge night at Game Center Wednesday evening.
And if you miss it, I'm sure there will be plenty of people playing in the hotel lobby or whatever. So,
Yeah. And JDG, you're flying in as well, right?
Yeah. Um, so not a direct flight. I think I'm flying through Chicago. One layover. But I'm flying on Wednesdays, which is
Okay.
nice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
that gives, and I think I'm arriving around like 5:30 p.m. So that gives me a lot of time to just like relax and get a good night's rest beforehand.
Hmm.
And you're a night owl, right? So
I am, but I need to sleep early for.
so when you're at these events, do you still find that you're up late or do you find yourself going to bed earlier?
I'm still up late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm a night owl and I'm also running on PST time.
Mm.
hmm
So that's like I usually go to bed like after midnight. So that would be equivalent to 3
it's
3
2
a.m.
a.m. for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
JDG and I are rooming together, right? And I'm usually up
Yeah.
at like 5 a.m., like going to sleep super early. And JD's just like, so we're gonna be rooming together. He's gonna be staring at the ceiling. I'm gonna be snoring next to him. He's like, this is the worst.
JDG
Yeah.
Hey,
finally gets to bed and you're just getting up to go for a run.
hmm
hey, hey, maybe. Oh, I meant to ask because I saw Sydney SC Steele just did the Chicago Marathon. I hadn't heard how it done yet, how she did yet. So very, very cool. But kudos to her. Yeah, I was wondering if there was going to be maybe we'll organize some like morning runs from folks. I think last vault tour I was at, I was like very gung ho first morning there. Got up, went for a run, and then after that, I was like, no, it's just not happening. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's I don't know if that area of Roseville is very runnable.
Conducive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but this is a good point to like, that kind of exercise is very good for you mentally and physically on a
Hmm.
stressful weekend like this. I think if there is a gym, which I believe there's a gym, there's definitely a pool there. Whatever kind of physical exercise, if you have time for that during the weekend, I think would definitely be helpful for, relaxing the mind and just making sure you're staying loose in general.
Totally. I mean, uh, do as much as much of your normal routines as you can. Right, putting you in your happy place. So if I'm gonna do my best, we'll see how well it works out to like make that happen. But it's gonna be tough the latter days for sure. But coincidence? I don't know. The day when I went for a run at the last vault tour, we were at Quick Draw. Went undefeated and sealed, made top cut. Next day, no run. Tried to forge with the key cheat through CeaseForge. So there's a correlation there.
You were there thinking like, why can't I forge this key? Shoot, I should have went for a run this morning.
that's
It's
that's
probably
what
like,
that's what it came down to. I just wasn't on my game because of the change in routine. We joke a little bit, but I mean, who knows? Maybe a little bit better sleep, maybe staying on the game, and you're feeling a little bit better throughout the day. Yeah, I mean, these things help with nerves. They help with just kind of dealing with the stressors of the events for sure. I would buy
mm,
that. I mean, I'm not trying to attribute that specific play to change in routine, but these things help the overall your overall ability to kind of deal with what the day throws at you if you can stick to your routines as much as possible for sure.
Yeah, there's routines, food, rituals. I need my morning coffee to function correctly. I'm not addicted. I'm just dependent. Uh, so I know that those can all be good calming things for you, and they can help set a good tone for the day. Uh, just figure out where you're gonna get that stuff, or if you're planning on going to the game center without a backup snack, just be prepared for what kind of stress that might add to you if you're caught in long rounds
Mm.
without the ability to get away. They
Oh,
do have lunch breaks, and
they
they do
they
have
do.
food at
Well,
the
no,
game center.
they don't. I was just gonna say, I heard they got rid of the snack bar at the game center.
No, I
They
quit.
still serve
I don't
beer.
know if I'm going anymore.
Yeah, it is sad to hear. But I think it's worth noting that's what I was told is that they no longer serve food there, just alcohol. So
Is that, well,
um,
maybe that's all
I
you need.
I'm
It
happy
is
with that,
calories.
but it just is it reinforces the thought that I think if you're listening to this perhaps Wednesday before you're leaving, you're about to pack, you may want to pack some power bars or something like that. I know
Hmm.
I will, but
Wow.
having a snack on hand I think is pretty big for this one.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Wow, food is gone. I'm surprised. I mean, I guess I don't know. Maybe that's an extra license you just don't have to deal with. But yeah, that's a big deal. Totally. Oh yeah, have snacks on hand. Have what you're going to need on hand,
Hmm.
as though you're not going to get those breaks because you don't know what's going to happen for sure. Keyforge is probably the one thing that I've played premier level OP events in that has taken breaks for
For
food.
food.
For food,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
This and it like shocked me the first time because I'm used to like these like 9, 11 round magic days where you just like start in the morning. You're like, all right, we're going to be here to the wee hours, just like pounding out rounds of matches.
That it's on you to figure out how to fill your time between rounds. So
Mm-hmm.
I think you and I both have that background of understanding what deck to bring to give us the most time between rounds. So,
Yeah. It's definitely a consideration for me. Like,
hmm,
trying not to bring a deck that's going to go to time every time, knowing that I need those breaks, like mentally and physically, I need them. So that's something to think about, as you're forging your alliance or you're thinking about what deck to bring for Archon or Alliance. Think about, is this a deck that is going to, be a grind to get to the end? Like, is there three effervescent principles and no way to make Amber in this? Like, those are, I think, are relevant considerations for these events.
Hmm. Be aware of
definitely.
it. Be aware of it at the very least, for sure. I mean, if
Hmm.
I honestly don't know if I would be in sort of the deck crafting phase of a sealed event, of the alliance sealed event, and bench what I thought was a stronger pod because it was going to be grindier. But certainly for a main event, if I was going into an Archon event, an alliance event, and I knew that my deck had a likelihood of going to time, like that's something hopefully you're preparing yourself for going into it. And if you're not prepared for it, that could be something that's going to contribute to some anxiety or stress during the day. I know I played T Zyger
Hmm.
the first
Yes.
got me. I played T Zyger at the first Vault Tour in Philadelphia, and I had not played competitive matches in real life with that deck before. I was used to playing on TCO, and just like managing all of the things that it needed to manage was a very different experience. And I think I went to time at least 2 or 3 times, and ended up like missing top cut on going to time. Um, I don't know if it was if there was like stress related with that, but I was definitely like not as prepared for that situation as I could have been for sure.
Yeah, and I think there can also be some stressors around like, what if this is your first event beyond your locals that you're going to? Like, if you've never been to a premier level event, you're not sure at the competitive level of play that you'll be seeing. You're not even really sure like what is the cadence you're supposed to have. What does it really mean to have no takebacks? And what does it mean to like be clear with your draws and never overdrawing? Or if you see a card that you overdraw, sometimes having to call judge or calling judge to fix a game state. Or what if you're suspecting that your opponent missed a trigger or is maybe intentionally doing something a little shady? Honestly, just call a judge, have the benefit of the doubt, and just take it easy. They're gonna take care of it. So there's all those things that can make you feel a little bit nervous. But just breathe and just try and remember that you're both trying to win a game, and it is a game, and a game is fun. So hopefully you're meeting someone and you're offering a smile and trying to get to know them. Where are they from? Like, it's not just a business transaction where you're playing your cards in solitaire to see if their solitairing can counter yours. You're actively playing an interactive game with another person. So just keep that in mind. And I think that can help alleviate some anxiety or social anxiety or stress.
There is so speaking of getting to what things make people nervous, like calling a judge is a stressful thing for a lot of folks to do. Like is a point of anxiety for a lot of folks to do. I mean, I don't know if there's much getting by that other than doing it a few times and being like, okay, that was okay. But I would encourage folks, yeah, like, and I say this to my opponent. They ask me how an interaction works. I say, this is what I believe. You should not trust your opponent. I'm a nice guy generally, but like, totally, if you're unclear, like, let's call a judge over. It's cool. Don't feel like you're being a jerk if you're going to if you're calling over a judge. It's an absolutely okay thing to do. And especially if there is confusion that's taking a long time, they'll give you an extension generally, and that
Mhm.
can even help. That can even help down the road as if things are going to get tight at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be even more stressful to not call a judge, honestly. Like if you're, having a perhaps awkward conversation about what the ruling should be, and maybe you don't agree, it's sometimes it's easier to just call the judge and be like, hey, like, let's, this is what they're here for. Let's just call them over. No hard feelings about anything. They knew better than I do. So yeah, it should not be a stressful thing to do. It's perfectly acceptable if you're at a point where you're not sure if your opponent did something correctly to just say like, hang on a second, I need to call a judge about something. Just want to make sure that neither of us are missing something because it is the responsibility of both players to maintain a correct board state. There's nothing shady or bad about just saying like, hey, hang on a second, let's just call a judge, make sure we're doing this right.
Mm-hmm. And it's
Mm.
not to catch. It's not to catch cheaters. It's just to kind of make sure that things are being done correctly, right? So,
Mhm.
uh,
There's lots of things that can make you nervous in a game. And it can be based on what your opponent's doing, but like part of keeping like the game state in check, like if you have a Howling Pit out, both players are drawing that extra card. Howling Pit gives you both players an extra card in hand. Don't just let them mix the trigger if it's yours. And hopefully your opponent is doing the same thing. He's keeping you abreast of game state information that you should be aware of. Like, oh, I cast Fog Bank. No, you can't actually reap. Can't use that creature to reap. That sort of thing. So people miss effects that were done on the previous turn. Scrambler Storm, Control of the Weak. Like sometimes those get missed. Just try and make sure you correct it and just be calm about it. Some things that I get nervous about, I normally don't really, but um, I can notice when a player is playing super fast and like flicking their cards, like that flicking their card nervous tick that you see, and then when it's their turn, they're blazing through everything. I feel like I'm missing what's going on. Like that can make you feel like you have to play at their speed. Like they're playing fast, you have to play just as fast, and that can make you make mistakes and th sometimes it's just play your game. Just calm down. When you draw up your hand, I w wouldn't recommend even looking at those cards until it's your turn. Like just pay attention to what your opponent is doing, ask questions, clarify, make sure that you understand the game state as well or better than your opponent does.
mhm.
And
Yeah.
make sure you're announcing what you're intending to be doing. I think some players will fall into a habit of just like not really saying or doing anything until they lay a card down, and sometimes that can cause some confusion, especially if they go the entire turn without saying anything. You're just pointing. Like understanding sometimes there's a language barrier, but sometimes you have to just try and work with what you've got, and sometimes calling the judge is going to help with that. So.
Yeah. So JDG, you've been to a lot of top cuts the last year, and so we were just joking before the show. It seems like you're pretty much cool as a cucumber. You're so used to it. But like, what makes you nervous at these events?
Okay. I remember actually the first like Keyforge high level event that I attended was Seattle Vault Tour 2023, and I just remember being really nervous, like in the top cut. Um, I think I think for that one, it was just my first time being at like a high level event. I was just so nervous. Um, I think in general, like things that make me nervous is like going to time, like especially with some of the decks that I bring. Um, so I'm like always checking the time. Um, and the other thing is making mistakes. Like sometimes, um, what's the word? I get like tunnel vision, and it's like it's easy to like be so focused on one thing and then completely forget another thing. And then like when you make the mistake, you're like you get really hard on yourself. Um, so I think just like slowing down a bit on your turn and just making sure like you check the different options that you have on your turn. um Not being so hard on yourself, like if you make a mistake, knowing that you can't play perfectly, things happen. And there's chance in Keyforge. Sometimes you might not draw the right things, and it's like there's things also out of your control that you can't really, I guess, dictate or uh, affect. So you just understanding that there things happen. I think as mentioned, being prepared with the deck you have, like having an alliance that can rule of six. So I remember just like practicing, like actually doing like the rule of six markers to make sure that I was prepared to do that. Um, yeah.
That's a good one. Like thinking about like the muscle memory and like the actual physical actions that you're going to be taking during the game and getting good at those, especially for things like rule of six. That's a very good thing to think about ahead of time.
Hmm.
Yeah, my rule of six is usually just scholars, and that's pretty easy to count because you can count the scholars on board.
Yeah, I was like, actually, yeah, before the Canadian Nationals, I had made like a Rule of Six counter for my alliance, and then the night before, I was like just practicing and timing how long it actually took to do the Rule of Six, so I knew ahead of time like how long it would actually take.
Wow.
Because
Uh,
because I wanted to make sure I had time to actually do it.
well, one of the things you mentioned was the tunnel vision aspect, and then making mistake and not letting it go further. I think that brings up like being on tilt. Like sometimes something will happen in a game, and whether it's related to a gameplay issue where like your opponent does something and then they ask for a take back and then you say yes and then they don't give you a take back and then you're just you've created a situation for yourself where you get tilted about it, or you make a small tiny mistake and you see if you had just done that one thing, the game would have been completely different, and now you're just upset and stewing and instead of thinking about how to problem solve and just keep your calm and figure out your way out of the situation. But Keyforge also has they have runaway game states like these boards, they just get out of control. They not only just clip clipped wings and purged your one board wipe out of your hand, but they also got rid of this other card, and now you're just like, well, now my archives are also shuffled in. What am I? I have nothing. You just dismantled me, and now you're just sitting there like a lame duck. All that prep just out the window. But with 2 LO, you have 2 losses. So don't count yourself out after one loss. And I think almost expect a loss, but like it's less pressure in the for the second game, like for the game after the loss, because you can really like maybe take riskier plays. Like you'll do something, I'm not sure if this will work, but this sounds like it'll be fun. This sounds like it could do something cool, or like play into my game plan. So you could do stuff like that as well.
I think it's a good perspective to say like I don't need to go undefeated, right? Like you don't need to
Hmm.
go undefeated to win. You definitely don't need to go undefeated to have fun. And it's Keyforge is a game of matchups, and so you're not going to be able to go into every game and see the list and be like, yeah, I can definitely beat this deck. You're going to have some bad matchups, and that's okay. And I think you should go in with the expectation, like, yeah, like I'm probably going to lose a game at some point today. You're not picking a deck that's going to go undefeated. You're trying to pick a deck that's going to, the expectation is like, yeah, my goal is to go 5-1 or maybe 6-1, whatever it takes for the top cut. Um, don't think about being like, oh well, this deck has fewer bad matchups. I should play this. Go in with the right expectations, I'd say, and you're less likely to be hard on yourself if you have more realistic goals
Mm.
for the weekend while you're there.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially if it's your first premier event. Sometimes just having the goal, I hope to forge a key. Like that could be a pretty achievable goal, and then like, okay, I've achieved a goal, set the goal post. I want to win a game. I want to do this. Like, set yourself some minimum goals that make you feel good about the event. Like maybe I want to meet a friend or be able to like go to dinner with someone and feel like I've made a connection. Like stuff like that can be an objective of your weekend. And that's certainly mine is to meet as many of the international people that are coming to Worlds. Like that's been my favorite thing about KFC is this big celebration with so many people from around the world getting the Sloppy Lab group back together. Like, this is a cool, cool time. So that's what I like to look forward to.
I like that a lot. Make sure go in with these, view it as a celebration. Kind of those are maybe what some of the goals are focused on, and doing well is a nice to have. It's gravy. You end up in a top cut, and this is gravy. Curious too, like do you all when you're playing, do you feel more pressure when you're kind of in the XO group or when you have a loss?
For me, it's when I
Mm,
have a loss. Yeah, because
Mm.
you have a
Yes.
buffer. If you haven't lost yet, you have a buffer. You're like, yeah, I don't need to win. I don't need to win my next game.
See, See what Biak was saying, I was like, no, this is how I feel. I don't know if this is how you actually feel, Biak, but when you were describing it, I'm like, you know what? Like when I'm sitting at X and O after 3 rounds, I'm like, all right, this is like now the pressure's on, sort of a thing. But if I have a loss, it's kind of like, all right, we're clawing back, but we're in scrappy mode, and this feels like a less pressured, less high pressure
well,
situation.
so with the 2LO, it's kind of this weird situation because you play a lot more rounds if you have a loss. So if you have a
Mm.
early loss, you play
Mm-hmm.
way more Keyforge to battle into that top position versus if you're undefeated and have a late loss. It's
Mhm.
just the way it works out. So, um, and I find that early loss can be more stressful, but like I look at that and like honestly, it's a long shot for me to be able to make it there. I'm hoping to put up a good fight. Um, but that's it. I'm just hoping to put up a good fight. I'm not expecting to get there at this point. Um, I think some people can have that expectation of getting there and feeling like they're in it until they lose, but um, sometimes it's just accepting it for what it is, I guess.
Mm. Mm.
That answers your question, but
Yeah, yeah,
I think
right on.
everyone's different though. Like some people are going to be
yeah.
more stressful about a single loss early on, and others will be like, okay, well now I'm free. Lower expectations, or or maybe you get more stressed if you're undefeated. One way or the other. Everyone's different. I think it's important to go into it understanding what makes you more stressed and anxious about it,
Mm,
and just go in with the right expectations and go in with the right preparation to be like, okay, like if this is what's going to get me the most anxious about this weekend, what am I going to do ahead of time, or how am I going to mentally prepare for those situations when they come up? Because they probably will.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, good note from Ryan in the chat here, from Floxmal in the chat here. So experiencing a loss in the event can almost like, I don't know, you get a hit of the sting and you're like, all right, that hurt, but now I'm gonna keep going. But you've had it happen, and now we can kind of move forward, and that feels, I don't know, to me that feels like easier to move on from than to pressure wise than feeling like there is this tension building from when you're on the XO train. You're like, can I keep it going? But mental mind games, mind games. For me, it feels like there's more tension when you're sitting at XO than when you've got one loss. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cool.
Well, there's more to the event as well than just the main event and the 200 portion, right? Like there's a lot of other stuff going on. There's a lot of other side events. And I think there's also a social aspect to this too. Some people aren't as comfortable socially, meeting new people. What would you guys give for some advice for someone who's, more on the shy side, introverted side, like going into a weekend like this with over 100 strangers? hanging out all weekend.
I would say ask questions and just try to get to know someone. I think, and it can even just be your opponent, and just like after the game is done, like asking them about a play that they did, or where did they get that deck, or just something that might be of interest to you. I think it's about one, talking and getting comfortable and understanding that you're talking to someone that is as much or more passionate about the same hobby that you're into. Like Keyforges, this is a hobby related event that is kind of uniting us all, and we all have a shared interest already. Check mark. Like, that's kind of cool to think about. And it's just getting to know someone. I mean, you've heard your two voices for sure on this podcast. Sometimes it's like you're walking by and you hear a voice you recognize. You're like, I just want to come up and shake your hand and meet you. Like, so just, yeah, just do that because we're all excited to talk to new people and get to know you. Like, I think that's something that um, I think people can sometimes inflate. I saw some study, people inflate how much they're putting someone out versus how much someone is willing to be put out for them. Like,
Hmm.
people love doing favors for other people, and they're so scared to ask other people for favors.
Hmm.
But if someone asks, they're so willing to do it. And if you think about it like that, like talking to someone could be seen as a favor, but it's like people are so excited to do it. So,
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, I'm happy to talk to anyone that if you're going there and you listen to the podcast, and you don't know anyone personally, I can be that person for you to just come up and say like, hey, I don't know anyone, but I listen to you and I see you online or whatever. Like, that's great. Like, I would also say like think about maybe some icebreakers. Just like up to somebody like, hey, what's your favorite Keyforge deck? Tell me about your favorite Keyforge deck, right?
yeah.
Like you said, Behawk, like we're all here with this common thread of loving Keyforge. There's so many things that you can take advantage of with that knowledge just to like get to know people better, become more comfortable, with strangers, and just relax and have a good time.
And also, Game Center has libations, so get a beer if that'll loosen you up a bit.
Yeah, totally. Gonna second. Hey, if you are listening to this and want to take some advice from the sloppy crew, like you're more than welcome to tag along with any and all of us all weekend. I'm sure. So,
And we'd love a beer, so please buy us a
oh,
beer. Yes.
whiskey's even better. I don't know.
Yes, whiskey is great.
Even better. But I think yeah, if you're going in by yourself, and it's tough. It's tough because if you are on the introverted side, contrary to like having us do this weekly podcast thing, like I am quite the introvert, and like this was like a very hard thing for me to do at the beginning, but I like happy to chill with somebody and they want to hang out with us all weekend and smash me at Smash Brothers or Mario Kart at some point. But yeah, I think if you can find your way to doing it, sometimes yeah, finding a crew to tag along with or folk to tag along person to tag along with is a great way to like dip your toes into the like social aspect of a weekend like this. And I'm going to this as very much like this is a community thing. Guest we had on not long ago, Nick Clogg, in front of the show, was fond of saying forge friendships, not keys. Like that's kind of my mindset going in. Like yeah, if I forge some keys and we walk away with some fun prizes, like that's awesome. Just know, folks, just know that if you do buddy up with Quick Draw, he's gonna make you probably play some adaptive. So just watch out.
That's right. Yeah, but that's hopefully Kagi Live ends up being a good way for people to just kind of loosen up and ask people, and you're going to see someone with the Kagi Live button, and hopefully they're in your pod. Just go up to them, hey, I don't know who you are, but you're in my pod. You want to play a game?
Hmm.
I hope that helps people kind of just connect more casually and um, have a less stressful type of game and just get to know someone.
Totally. And
Hmm.
if you see somebody with a Keyforge related piece of flair, that's an easy like, hey, what's the deal with that? Like, what's that all about? So if you see a Kagi pin, or if you see like I don't know, something cool on somebody's lanyard, or if you see somebody playing with a creator card, like, oh, what's that? Like, where can I get one of those? Like, absolutely. And I'd love to be giving those away for sure. Um, totally. Not required. Yeah, not required indeed. Friends not required, but encouraged. Could be rewarding. Hmm.
Yeah, I think the one thing that everyone already knows this, but this KeyForge community is great. Like, we talked about some examples of, you know, your opponents playing too fast, or like maybe trying to pressure you into doing things. Those are things that honestly I don't see too much happen in KeyForge. Like, people are really good, and if you just say like, just be totally open and honest with people that you're playing, your opponents, everyone's really understanding in this game. And KFC last year was just a blast. Like, you think that it's like a premier level event, and you feel like, oh, this is going to be like really cutthroat. It's not always like that. And so I think just go into it expecting your opponent to be a good human, which they probably will be, and don't go into it thinking like, oh man, this person's like, they're really out to slaughter me. They're really out to get me. Like, we're all there to have fun. And there's misplays. People often let people take things back. Maybe you don't want to ask for something. I try not to ask for takebacks, things like that. But most people are pretty understanding, and as long as you're not like gaining new information from something, like they're gonna let you like, oh, I meant to put this creature on the other flank, or I meant to reap before I played this creature, something like that. Like, they're probably gonna let you go. And I think just the point I just want to emphasize is that this community is full of a lot of really good people, and you should use that as uh, another means of being like, I don't have as much to stress about with my opponents.
Hmm. What's your you said I'm curious. So what's your stance on takebacks at an event like KFC or a Vault Tour Archon event?
Yeah, that's really tough. I mean, like I said, I try not to ask for them because it puts your opponent in an awkward situation if you ask for a take back, because they don't have to let you take it, right?
Hmm.
And then it makes them feel like they're the bad guy if they say no. But really, the rules are the ones that say no. And so like that might be a situation where you just call the judge and be like, I don't know if they're entitled to take back here. Can you just like decide for us? Because it is an awkward situation to ask your opponent for a take back and expect them to be the good guy and give it to you. So I try to avoid that altogether and just not ask for it. I might say like, "Oh, I messed up. I should have done that. I should have done this in a different order." And maybe a lot of people will be like, "Oh, you can fix it," and I'll usually just say like, "No, it's my fault. I made a mistake. I got to learn from it."
Mm.
Um, it's just hard to put your opponent in a tough situation like that.
Yeah.
The one that I almost always do is like a house call. Like until a card is played or a
Absolutely.
creature is reaped,
Mhm.
I don't consider the house like set until that happens. Like I
Yeah.
just think it's kind of a silly rule that you have to announce your house, but that's what it is, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people like take their archive before announcing, and I'll just casually, politely ask like, "Hey, what house you calling?" Like,
Yeah.
just to make sure that
Because
like,
and sometimes I don't even know that you're supposed to call your house before you take your archives
Mm.
yeah,
too. So
right. It's perfectly fine to ask your opponent questions. Like,
yeah.
what house did you call, or how many cards in your hand is a very common thing to ask, just to make sure like if they're even if they don't have chains or whatever, just ask them like make sure like, hey, you have six in hand, right? Like, it's not rude to ask and make sure like you mentioned Howling Pit earlier. It's not
Hmm.
rude to be like, hey, like, did you draw seven, or do you have six, or did you accidentally draw eight? I killed your daughter last turn. Are you supposed to be back down to six now? Like, just ask your opponent things like that are just basic about the game state. Make sure that things are cool. No one's going to look at that as an aggressive move. You're just trying to make sure that everyone's,
I
um,
will say, if and when it does happen that you overdraw because of succubus or some other effect that's causing you to have less than a six card hand size, uh, call a judge and just accept the consequence because it is still a premier level event and just accept that that's going to happen. Don't get
mhm,
upset with yourself or your opponent about it. Don't just put a random card back on top of your deck. Like it's the rule for the reason as well. And sometimes just understanding that that's going to be the price of this and trying to come up with a strategy to prevent those like I said like I like to lay my hand down, like face down, and when I draw up, I put the cards on top. So if I ever do overdraw, I've never seen the card and I know exactly what card would go back on top.
Hmm.
So
It's a really good
that's
strategy. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, having some sort of rituals of that sort is very helpful. Like when I have to draw a card, my method for drawing a card, right, is sliding it off the top of my deck, like giving a little shake on the table just to make sure there aren't two stuck together. It's never just like pick up and look, because you get two cards stuck together there, and all of a sudden you're looking at two
Mm-hmm.
cards and you're like, oops. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, having little things like that just to kind of ensure that you're keeping things clean is great. And
JT's a magician,
Yeah, hands above the
actually.
table,
it,
JT.
So
there is a reason I
keep an
have.
eye on him.
You were asking earlier about all these cards behind me. There is a reason I've got so many, and there's like
Mm-hmm.
there's a sleight of hand deck right there, or book right there too. Very fun.
Mm.
Um, but where was I going with that? My sort of like general guideline. If it's helpful to have a like, this is my guiding principle on takebacks, because leaving it up to like, oh, it depends, use your judgment, can be a point of anxiety, because then you're like, I don't want this to be a an interaction where I'm kind of like buying, trading in social capital. My like guideline there is, if it feels like if new information has been gained, then you kind of pass the window for a take back at a premier event. But if there's no new information, like your opponent's just doing their thing, they put a card down, they pick it back up immediately, and they're like, oh nope, wrong order. Like that's cool. Like do that all day. I don't care. But as soon as they put something down and they ask you a question, you make a remark like, oh, I'm glad you played that because I was worried about X, Y, or Z. Like, okay, we're past the window for a take back. So if there's new information, which they've drawn a card, that's obvious, but it could also mean that they looked at you and saw that you were relieved because they played something, like that's new information. Um,
That's
uh,
kind of ilky. Ugh,
yeah, yeah. So
that body language read.
the body language read, it's a real thing, and uh, yeah. But that's my guiding principle. If they're just plowing through, no new information has been gained, take back, that's fine. I don't even see that as a take back. I see that as you kind of like correcting and I don't know, not sort of a misannounced execution, but however you want to phrase it. I think we're kind of in safe territory there.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that it's okay, acceptable to like go into a match against an opponent and just from the very beginning, before you even start, just lay out quick ground like FYI, I'm not going to be asking for any takebacks, or maybe like, hey, like, are you okay with any takebacks this game? Just like make sure you're on the same page with the opponent before something like that comes up. Is that okay to you guys? Do you think?
I have no objections to it. I mean, I'm always a fan of like explicit social contracts. Especially if I think where you get into trouble with these sorts of things is when there are different expectations. Like you were alluding to before, like you give me a take back and I'm like, okay, great, free take back, but you ask me for one later. I'm like, nah, that's not what we're doing here, buddy. That's where things can get a little messy. So if it helps you
Yeah.
to just lay it out there initially, like go ahead, go for it, do it. Or if you're on the other side, and you want to say, hey, I'm cool with takebacks. Are you cool with some takebacks? Like throw that out there at the beginning, and no one's gonna look at you funny if that's the thing you want to have on the table. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, have you made any mistakes because you were nervous?
All the time.
I remember one that still sticks with me, and it was going to time. Like I was about to go to time. For some reason, they were doing a countdown. It was like the first vault tour I went to, and at Gen Con, and I had a Lash of Broken Dreams out, and two Dominator Bobble, and two uh, Dodgers in play, and I remembered like calling Dis because I needed to use my Lash, and then I used my Dominator Bobbles to use my Dodgers, and I'm like, oh gosh, time's almost up. I need to just like clear out my hand so I can draw up, and the act of using the Dodgers made me feel like I was in House Shadows. So then
Mm.
I ended up playing Shadows cards, and then at that point I was like, F. Like, like, oh no, like, and I was just rushing, and then somebody pointed out, I was like, how did you play these cards when you use this? And I was like, yes, I messed up.
Hmm.
Okay, great. So, and the act of, and like I remember like I tried to fix it. So I'm like, okay, so we have to go back, and then we took it all back, and then in the process of drawing my last card, everything was fixed, and I was looking at my opponent because it was their turn and they were about to call time. They said that because the card was in my hand off the deck, but not in my hand, that I hadn't finished drawing my hand up, so the
Mm-hmm.
time actually was called on my turn.
Oofa doofa.
Jeez.
So
Mm.
I was like, wait, oh no. But
I've
if
never
I
heard that one
hadn't
before.
if I hadn't made all the mistakes leading up to this, it would have been a different outcome. But I just remembered being very salty because this going to time rules were a little different then, because they didn't have to stop me from forging if they had enough or whatever. So
Hmm.
um, if they had more,
How
so
about you,
it was
JG? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Behawk there.
yeah no I just remember that, like I vowed from then on I'm never going to time again. And also, I'm going to make sure I know what I'm playing. Like, I'm gonna have a plan and play slow down,
and from
and
that
be okay if it gets called on my turn.
and from that day since, he's walked the path of the scholar trainer, the Church of the
Yes, I
Scholar Trainer.
have.
Awesome, awesome,
I play rushy decks now. Yeah.
nice, nice. Yeah,
hmm
JG, you got any from your many top finalist appearances at premier events
Uh,
in Keyforge Land?
yeah, I remember one was at Canadian Nationals last year. It
Mm-hmm.
was in the finals, second game against Sheep, playing um, Pink Fraud, and I was playing Chandra. It was actually a pretty close game. Um, but the mistake that I made was Amphora had been destroyed and was back in the deck, and I played
Mm.
Lethalogica. And then as I was resolving, I was like, "Oh shoot, I'm gonna discard Amphora, which I really need." And yeah, I started discarding cards, and Amphora got discarded. And I think if I did not play Lethalogica, I would have drawn into Amphora, and that might have won the game for me.
Oof.
Hmm.
mm
That's a rough
So
matchup
yeah, it's
too.
like
Yeah.
yeah, um, yeah. So it's hard like when you're like in the middle of like resolving it, and you're like, "Oh shoot, I'm I'm making a mistake," and I can't really take it back.
I am actively losing the game right now. I am snatching loss from the jaws of victory.
I like to imagine you and Doctor Sheep, pausing after each card is flipped for Lethalogica, just to like look each other in the eye and be like, "Is it the one? Is it the one?" Oh, and four comes up. Oh my gosh! Nice, nice. And JDG, we have you to thank for the timed finals matches now. I think, right?
Oh yeah.
You did that.
That
Well,
was
me and Nova did.
you and Nova. Yeah, it
Oh.
was Jacques versus Chandra, right?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I mean both decks uh, like to play like make the game slower, and also, well, I think the fact that we were playing the game knowing that there was no timer, we definitely took our time.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, but yeah, some there were some of those games were long.
That's rough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is maybe a good note generally too, but also falls back on getting some reps beforehand, knowing how you should be pacing your turns, but you know, not advertising slow play, but don't be afraid to take your time when it's a turn that you should be thinking through. Um, yeah, it's easy to get into, and this is kind of what you were saying before, Behawk, but it's easy to like get into a rhythm and then feel like you need to match your opponent's pacing. Like that can be a thing that feels like a pressure on you, especially if your opponent's playing really fast. It can feel like you need to match them. But yeah, don't be afraid to like take your time,
hmm
especially on those critical moments. Yeah. Hmm. Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Do
Right
you guys have
on.
any other advice that we haven't touched on yet that you wanted to bring up here?
Hmm. I like the idea of having rituals in your play. These can be great touch points for you to resettle mentally. So we're talking kind of in game, dealing with some of the kind of stresses and anxieties in a match in a competitive setting. Have a like okay, this is I'm starting my turn, just about to pick up my cards. Take stock of the situation. That can just be a touch point to resettle. Or as you're like counting down your cards, do that in the same way every turn as you're redrawing your hand. Having those sorts of things can really help you out. Um, yeah, I think that's my biggest advice. That's probably not going to be restated by some of the other folks.
I like the ritual aspect, like also where you put your amber, where do you
Mm-hmm.
how do you establish that you're in check? How do you establish do you like for me, I like having an order in which I will play a trainer or a scholar, and then I always reap first, even if I have other things in hand. So then it seems like I'm drawing more Saurian stuff,
Mm-hmm.
even if I'm not. So there's that little psych play, but also it really does. It feels like it's being enforced, and it feels like I'm having fun and being more confident with my play by following like a strategy of how I'm doing something. Like if you do library access with a wild wormhole, do you draw first, then wild wormhole, then draw, or do you stack the draws after both cards or however it works? But there's and also with autoencoder though, some of those things aren't optional, so like understanding like the nuances, like if you are discarding a card to draw a card, well, the discard effect has a period, so then you archive and then you draw. So if you have autoencoder with those mutants that do discard and
Mm.
draw, be aware of those like nuances of your cards.
Mm. I have one more piece of advice too, and I guess for folks who are going to be listening to this in audio format, it'll come probably too late for KFC. But there was a good book recommended by actually Nick. Nick recommended this. It's called The Inner Game of Tennis. I listened to it, consumed it in audio format a little while back, uh, and it's very much about kind of your mental game, and which relates to stuff we're talking about here. This is more about maybe more about how to kind of improve and win the mental game, but there's a big aspect to competing at these events is just the mental game, right? And if you can make a mistake and say, I'm a person who made a mistake, but not I'm a person who makes mistakes, you're going to be doing a lot better over the course of a game, probably enjoying it very well too. And if you can kind of take those as, okay, this happened, I'm going to learn from it, and not let it be something that is going to warp the rest of my experience and kind of get in my head. That's a big thing, and that's easy advice to like give, and it's like something that it's going to take time and practice to like master for sure. Not saying I'm an expert, but uh, I'd offer that up as a thing to read, thing to consume.
Well,
So
even just that snippet that you said I liked about how you made a mistake, don't, you're not someone that makes mistakes. You just made one.
mm-hmm.
Like it was an accident. Like I like that idea.
It happens. It's gonna happen. Like no, now it's gonna happen again at some point in the rest of your life, right? So
Hmm.
so just
But it's
embrace it.
different than saying like, yeah, I made a bad play, but I'm not a bad player, you
Yes,
know?
Mm.
Like
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
JDG, what else you got?
Mm,
Hit
I think
everything? Yeah.
like I think even like after the match, like talking to your opponent and asking for advice. Oh, could I have done something differently in this matchup? I think it's really good just to glean from the matchup. Asking for advice, and having just like I guess an open mind that there's always things to learn and always things to improve on.
That's a good one. I mean, because most players are happy to talk about the match. They're happy to talk about like
Mm,
why they did things, or maybe they were happy to see you did something, and it's a great way to learn. It's a great way to just kind of casually get to know someone as well, and just kind of, you know, that's a really good one. Just to talk to your opponent about the game afterwards as well. I like that.
also I love bad beat stories. I love to hear them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. If you, oh my gosh, love it. And this is probably a good time too to plug again the way that we're going to be handing out some of the Sloppy Lab Work creator cards, right? So if at any point during the weekend you want to come up to one of us sloppies and get recorded your own $1 billion plan $5 blunder, we will lovingly take it and celebrate it and probably play it for other folks to celebrate it with you. But I mean, hey, we're all about embracing the fact that we're not perfect players and these things happen. So yeah, share those stories with us. It's in good fun, and get some cool creative card out of it too. But Quick Draw, did you have one you wanted to share too?
Just I want to emphasize the food and the drinking and the water. Like, I'm bringing a water bottle, like a reusable water bottle, because I think last year they actually ran out of cups for a bit. So it's a good idea
Mm.
to always have your own water bottle. And I'm definitely bringing like some kind of power bar or granola bar or something like that, just to make sure that I'm getting something that is going to like time me over for a bit. Um, that's the two big things for me when I come to these events, is like making sure that I have enough water and food. It sounds silly, but like it really, thankfully Keyforge is a game that does have these lunch and dinner breaks, but you're still going to find times where you're like, maybe you couldn't quite get out and get like a meal you wanted at the lunch break. Just having these backup plans, I think, is so important.
So, real talk here too. Another thing that I always have in my bag at these events, every single time I go, is a deodorant stick. Always have one, because like I'm a sweaty dude, but I don't want to like feel like a sweaty dude all weekend, or at least not like a smelly sweaty dude.
Uh-huh.
So that's the thing that will like get in my mind and sit there, and like
It's
if
a good
it's
idea.
if it's your thing, have one there. But yeah, always food, always water, and I always have a deodorant stick too. There you go. There you go. Cool.
Mm,
Cool.
great. Thanks.
Yeah, just what she always went. She's like, I'm rooming with this guy. That's great. Cool. I had one other thing before we transition here too. And yeah, folks on the stream are curious to help us out with testing it. Uh, Tomorrow, perhaps? Well, we'll see how many folks are interested. But to help with matchmaking for Kagi Live, we're going to have a matchmaking tool that folks can use. Totally optional. Do not need to use it at all. But if say the prospect of trying to flag down or track down opponents all weekend as you're playing in the Kagi Live event, is a point of anxiety for you, this may be a thing that just helps out a little bit. So you can broadcast your availability, see if somebody else is says I'm looking for a match too, and then get paired up, and that'll maybe just make that a little bit easier and take 1 point of potential stress out of your weekend.
It's
So
almost like online dating, isn't it?
almost like online dating. I mean, in the same way that the like quick match tool on TCO is like online dating. Yeah,
It is, isn't it? That's yeah.
yeah, it is. It is like that with block lists and everything.
That's a good point. Well, do we have a sponsor this evening as well?
We do, in fact, have a sponsor related. Oh, I guess semi good segue. That was probably where I was going with that from my last tip. But this episode of Bottom of the Beaker was brought to you by Principal Effervescence, the cologne that adds a spark of refinement to the discerning Archon. With bright, invigorating notes and a subtle undertone of mystery, Principal Effervescence ensures you'll make a memorable impression, whether you're strategizing in the crucible or commanding attention in other pursuits. Perfectly balanced to embody both elegance and energy, this fragrance is for those who live by their own rules. Elevate your essence with Principal Effervescence today. Indeed. Yeah, could I introduce you or JDG perhaps in the bottle of Principal Effervescence, courtesy of our sponsors?
Yeah, I'm interested. 100%.
Right on. Well, folks, I'll let you also know that Bottom of the Beaker is recorded live on Wednesday evenings, this evening notwithstanding, on 9:30 Eastern Time. You can find recordings of our past shows and other streams over at youtube.com. We are at Sloppy Lab Work over there. And for the very best content, 34? No, 57 times distilled and scraped from the bottom of the beaker. You can search for that very phrase in your podcatcher of choice, and we'll be there, ready to enjoy some premier level events with you, stress free, indeed. Thanks so much to the Sizzlin' Behawk. Thank you so much. for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Always, indeed. And the much accomplished JG314. Uh, so nice to have you on, as always.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Totes,
Thank you
my
guys for
goats.
celebrating number 100 with us.
Woo!
Ooh. We all would at the same time there. That was nice. That was a nice moment. And,
That was very cute. Very cute.
and quick draw. Got any words for the folks getting off of the final audio stop?
Yeah, I just looking forward to seeing everybody. You guys, everyone else, all of our other Keyforge friends at KFC next week. If you've never met me or talked to me before and you see me at KFC, please say hi. Very happy to chat. And if you're not coming to KFC, then stay sloppy.
Stay sloppy indeed. All right, cool, folks. Excellent. Oh, point of administrivia. We will not be recording next week at our usual time or otherwise, but maybe we'll have some short things coming out of KFC throughout the weekend. But yeah, no recording next week, so no stream next week, and that's that. Yeah. So, how are the sloppy poops feeling? We feeling like we have some energy for a game, or is it getting a little late?
I am ready for a game.
I have the energy.
Yeah.
Well then,
2 versus 2, hand and brain, adaptive best of 1.
we have a full hand and brain. All right, you all figure out what's happening. I'm going to try and recover from the layout kerfuffle. That's going to be what Zencaster does when I stop the recording over there.
All right. So I think we are going to be teaming up, me and then one of either Behawk or JDG versus JT in the other. And then, as you guys already know, hand and brain, we'll have one person playing as the hand with a deck owned by the brain, and then the bidding. How did we do this last week, JT? I always forget how we do hand and brain with bidding. Who bids?
Brains do the bidding.
Brains do the bidding. So brain brings the deck. Brain does the bidding. Brain chooses the houses, and then the hand will take care of the rest.
Yep. And maybe we'll go with some upper decks of ships for this one. The old poop decks, as they're called.
I hope that name catches on.
Yeah.
Do we want to play Ember Skies?
Ooh, that could be fun. Oh my goodness.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, so let's ask Behawk and JDG. Do you guys have a preference on being the hand or the brain? Do you want to be playing the game, or do you want to be bringing one of your decks?
I would like to play.
All right, Behawk is a hand. JDG, you got a
I'm
preference there?
indifferent.
All right, I kind of want to be the brain. I love being the brain. So how about Behawk and I team up, and then we'll let JT and JDG decide which one of them wants to be the hand and the brain.
Nice. That is a power team right there, JDG. I like it. I made 2 Behawks. What am I doing? In the
and so, you guys cool with Amber Skies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool.
Behawk, I'm gonna send you a
link.
The deck might have Quick Draw in the name.
Ooh.
Oh, I was gonna say we should do a sloppy deck rumble.
Ooh, we could do the sloppy deck rumble.
But
Ooh,
if you're feeling
that'd
like
be kind of cool.
Did we
Yeah.
play this matchup yet, JT?
I don't think I've actually played any games with this deck yet. Well, no, that's not true. I've not played any games against you with this deck yet.
All right. So I'm gonna send you my sloppy lab worker deck, Behawk, I think you're gonna like this one.
Sweet.
I know you're gonna like the name. I know that much.
All right.
Um,
JDG, do you want to be hand and brain? Your call.
I could be brain. I have a Sloopy play deck.
Ooh.
You have a Slippy play deck?
oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. Is that meet our criteria for the evening?
Yes, yeah, I think it absolutely does.
All right. Sweet.
You also have Pink Fraud in your collection now, don't you?
Oh, is it a?
Oh yeah, I do. Oh yeah.
What?
I do.
What?
Yeah, JDG acquired Pink Fraud. You didn't hear
No
about
way. I did
Yeah.
not hear about this. Dr. Sheep?
No, Dr.
What?
Sheep still has it, but so does JDG.
Doctors. Oh my
What?
gosh.
Do you want
Well,
to
I
play
will
that with
be
that one?
There are three.
starting the
Are these
game.
all your decks, JDG? Are these all these Sloopy decks yours? There are three Sloopy
uh,
decks.
no, I've made. Only one of them is mine.
Wait, there's three? Really?
There are
What?
three Sloopy decks.
Are they
Wow.
in Ember Skies?
They're all Ember Skies decks. Yeah.
I'm so happy because honestly, like, I don't remember. Okay, these names are incredible. When that whole thing came down, I was kind of like, guys, like,
Jam.
sloppy is a good word. We can't keep saying
Nice.
sloppy play, right? Like, so I don't remember who came up with Sloopy, but
Nice. So it looks like
Game
JM
fraud.
and SC Steel have the other ones. Awesome.
oh wow, Doctor Sloopy sucks. Oh man.
Nice. Nice. All right, cool. So your brain, JDG. You join. I'll watch. No, strike that. Reverse it. I'll join. You
All
watch.
right, so B-Hawk, you're going to be joining the game. You
Oh,
already have the game up. Hands are open.
Wait.
Excellent.
Oh, wait. Behawk was the hand, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, we're good. And
Yes.
you are a sloopy play who doesn't like totems, JDG, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then B-Hawk is playing Sloppy Lab Worker of the Theater.
I love that.
I knew you
That's
would.
that's good. Question. Oh, so let's see. Firebase did not deploy a Firebase for this. Still all Python based. And I'm missing anything else? Yeah, hand burst
We only
brain,
have
burst hand
one
burst brain.
spectator.
I like it.
All right. So, Sloopy Play who doesn't like totems. Um, I won't go through my full spiel of like counting
No.
everything, but off the bat, I am not seeing a ton of creature control. There's a mind over matter. Um, there's a Rose of Sharon, which is some pretty solid. There is no red line rotation. That's always good to see. All right.
Okay.
So I've played with Sloppy Lab Work of the Theater twice in adaptive matches, and that's I think all I've played with it so far.
Hmm.
Perf.
Cool. So you've got Rise with double Dust Imp, Infernal Terran. Nice. Ooh, yeah. Against all flags. A couple deanimators. Nice. That'd be fun. This looks cool too, JDG. Arrow 04. I don't know that card actually. How about that?
Is that the
Oh, it's
leader?
the leader. Yeah.
Just lets you rearrange your battle line and capture or something like that?
Oh, after you may rearrange other friendly creatures in your battle line. Each friendly frank creature. All the franks capture two. All the flank creatures capture two. Okay, awesome. Sweet, sweet. Okay, sweet.
That's a lot of house enhancements you got
Oh
there.
yes.
Whew, that's good to know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Geistoid enhance
Wow, and they're
and one Skyborn.
all
Wow.
in logos too. The
Are we in
logos
trouble?
is half.
I don't know. I know which deck I'm gonna bid on.
And you're doing the bidding, JDG. Yeah.
Yeah.
JDG's like, yeah, I know. That's why I chose this role, so you didn't mess it up.
I'm gonna actually, Biak, I'm gonna DM you to let you know which deck to bid on.
Okay.
Okay, I'll message you as well.
Okay.
I'm just a dumb hand. You tell me what to do. What?
And Bhawk
Oh,
won the
I didn't.
flip.
I didn't start it as an adaptive game,
Oh,
so we're
okay.
gonna
Oh,
manually do it.
We'll manually do it.
okay.
We'll do it live.
I mean,
Do it live.
we can just call out our bids too. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
are you guys ready to pick then?
We are ready. Yes.
All right. We're gonna bid on Sloppy Lab Worker of the Theater.
Then we are playing Archon.
All right.
Okay.
Had a
Wow.
feeling that
Okay.
might happen.
Interesting.
Bayhawk,
Uh-huh.
did you have an instinct? Would you have bid on the other deck?
You have more play experience than I do.
Well,
But
with this deck, but you've played a lot more games of Keyforge than I have. We discussed this earlier.
Wow.
I have not played much Amber
Hmm.
Skies.
Okay.
I literally have one deck that is Amber Skies that I've loaded. And it's this
Okay.
deck here.
how do you feel about totems?
I don't know.
No? Okay.
No opinion.
No opinion. Very good. Awesome. Awesome.
Well,
All right. Hmm.
All right. And you get the mulliganing decisions here, JG, if you can see my hand. Honor system, not to look at opponent's hands.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Um,
I don't love it. I'm gonna pitch it.
actually, let's keep it.
Okay.
All right. That seems better.
Sloppy lab worker of the theater. Let's
All
look
right.
at you.
Let's start it up with some Skyborn, Behawk.
whoa.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Okay. Logos.
Seems legit. All right, we're going to make a couple hologramophones. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm.
Scary.
It is scary.
Interesting. Interesting. This is an interesting play. I think I'm going to actually play this Skippy and then burn the mind over matter. Put it into archives here.
Hmm.
I'm making your job so easy, JDG here.
All right. Um, let's go Dis.
What'd you think about that, JDG? Would you have played that differently?
I don't think so. I mean, I might have considered keeping Skippy on the board.
Mm-hmm.
But I think either is fine. Either
Yeah, that
works.
seemed like a sloppy play there, JT.
A little sloppy, a little
Mm-hmm.
bit.
Was the mind over matter first?
I don't know.
100%.
I mean, you get to play Skippy again, but like it doesn't have the after reap. So I mean, we could keep it on the board if you want.
Yeah, yeah. I think
Yes.
what pushed me there was getting to play it at a later with Ward before there's a chance to smash it, but maybe
Oh
that's
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
that makes
silly.
sense.
A little silly. Um, but all right. Cool. What else would you like?
Skyboard.
Okay. All right. You have nothing? Interesting. Interesting. No on the archives. Okay. I'm going to try and do this somewhat reasonably.
Oh my.
I mean, okay.
One day I'll figure out my TCO connection.
But today is not that day.
No, it is not.
Interesting. A lot of different house or key color cares about key color things going on here.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Oof,
cool.
that's a solid turn right there.
A few Skyborn cards were played.
All right, let's go. Let's go Logos.
Okay.
Interesting.
Mm.
Articulated Wren. Disenhanced Articulated Wren. The daughter that makes you telegraph your next turn. Yeah.
I think it's a great card.
I mean, it's worse than daughter, but it's a cool card for sure.
I don't know if I say that.
You think that the extra 1 power without elusive and the cost of exhausting one of your dudes uh,
Maybe. Yeah.
makes it better than daughter? I mean, it can make you overdraw. It can make you overdraw. They're both essentially like +1 net +1 hand size, right?
Yeah. It just seems to stick around a lot longer to me. I don't know. Yeah, I
Perhaps
don't
so.
think it's a big deal to like telegraph your hand, so to speak. Like
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we got a thing deanimated, which is cool. We have I can still use the artifact ability, I guess.
Yeah. Wait, but it's
It
one
does
of
it
its
with
neighbors. You
neighbors.
can't.
Take this hologramophone power. Right at you. Yeah. Yeah. Funny.
um,
We have some house
let's
enhancements.
choose. Yeah,
Funky.
let's choose Skyborn.
Skyborn it is. Okay, not taking the
Those
archives.
house pips are insane.
yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, playing the leader. Very nice. Mm. We'll play this duder. Play this one. Damage goes to... Actually, I need to take a quick look here. Just familiarize myself with what's coming for damage. Okay, okay. Let's toss one on the deanimator, I guess. We're going to reap here. Swap the doppelganger with the cloud kicker. And then get some reaps in. Nice.
Oof.
All right, we'll go Skyborn here.
Okay.
I'm not sure I'm doing great with battle line placement.
It's definitely tough for this set. It actually matters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Flocksmall's got some good points. So if you have enough cards in hand such that you won't draw with a +1 hand size, Ren can get you a card. Ren can also get you cards maybe is marginally better when you've got chains. kind of for that same reason. Um, yeah, yeah, there are cases for sure. All right, the battle line is growing. I'm gonna get scroll bars both directions here. I have to apologize for the small cards, folks on stream. Uh-oh, I don't feel good about this doppelganger's chances of making it. But now we have a nicely centered arrow of 4, which is cool.
Mm.
All right, and by tradition, JDG, you get to tell us which key color to forge, which is usually just kind of a cheeky thing, but has some real game significance now, I guess. Kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, he chooses because he's the brain?
Brain
Yeah.
chooses the key color. Yeah.
I missed that. Probably more than I should. And I apologize.
Choices, choices.
Um, I think I would have liked playing the Bucks Bastions.
To create board presence?
I think board presence is really important in this matchup.
You're probably right. There is a lot less C than I expected.
Yeah, on both sides.
I'm gonna choose the red key.
Thank you. I'm so glad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna choose Skyborn.
Still looking good on the Skyborn side. I like it. Well, the Red Baron really wants to reap. That's cool. Man, lots of battle line shifting things happening here. Taunt. Okay. Well, no on the archives for sure. I can reap here, rearrange everything. That's cool. And then they get the captures. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Each other friendly flank creature gets +2 armor and taunt. Nice. Cool.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's spicy. We're gonna reap with Red Baron, and then we will reap with 04. Let's see, do we want to put somebody over on the flank to get some fights in? That feels pretty good. They exhausted the Ren again. Would they go back into Logos? I feel like a disc turn is coming. Let's put something on the flank that can fight into this Chauncey. Maybe Indigo on the flank feels good, or Bucks Bastion. Cool. We'll get a reap here first, and I want to capture on Indigo and the Cloud Kicker, I think. So we're gonna swap Baron and Indigo. Cool. Put the Amber over here. Put you over here. Wait a minute. Nice, nice. Reap and swap you with that. Oh. And then fight here into the Chauncey. Reap.
My Amber game.
And we're not going to action this Rose of Sharon, though I'm tempted to just do it. It could be fun. But protecting the old Red Baron, I should probably have left the Cloud Kicker protected, but nah, it was maybe not the best placement there. Hmm. Now I have this
This is a tough one here. Let me think about this for just a moment.
silly Bucks Bastion taunted. Yeah, you got notes for that battle line placement, I'm sure, JDG. Oh yeah, interesting. The action roulette. So it's printed order and then order that they're gained. I think, which is not super helpful unless you remember all that stuff. But like this happens all the time. I have a Ryan. I have a researcher deck that features Hymn to Duma, and it's like, which action would you like to use, action or action? TCO says, and you have to just know that like the Hymn to Duma
Mhm.
one gets counted second, so you got to
Yeah.
choose the first action. Same thing just for what's the artifact in Geistoid that Sai uses to great effect? It either tucks a card underneath it, or it can spew out all the cards underneath it as tokens. Offering to kill a Gog. Yeah, has
Oh,
two.
not Geistoid, Unfathomable.
Unfathomable. Sorry. Yeah, has double
Yeah.
double omni, and it's like, which one are
Uh,
you trying to use? Yeah.
Behawk, I'm going to go Skyborn here.
All right.
Please tell me if you like that or not.
I will not.
I need to know. I need to know how I'm doing.
It's like, I will not like that. Draws cards. Nice. Do we have an against all flags coming? Hmm. Okay. Feel less bad about my poor battle line placement if that was reaching around anyway. Yeah, offering's great in Falfend. The decks that really make it shine just do nutty stuff with it. Such a cool card with uh, the Equidon artifact. I'm having trouble recalling card names here. That bounces creatures to hand. Sandhopper. Such a cool card with Sandhopper.
Nicely done. That's what I was hoping you would do, Behawk.
Really?
Exactly.
Okay, okay. You might say I'm fulfilling my potential for one turn after
For one turn.
disappointing you the previous time. Yes.
Have I disappointed you with any of my house calls yet?
I think I might have preferred a different house call, but this one was okay. This ended up okay. I'm just worried. I feel a little overextended.
Overextended in what way?
in in leaving this play.
Hmm.
Okay,
Ooh. Hmm.
I'm gonna choose Skyborn again.
I
Are
like
you
it.
bored?
Shocker. Shocker.
All right, no in the archives. Are we building up to big Infernal Terran play? I feel like we're getting set up for a big Infernal Terran play. Effervescent Principle coming too. Well, anyway. Okay, so that's cool. We can recenter Arrow with Shay. That's nice. Red Baron's still going to get to steal. Also nice. I think we want to take care of this Navigator Qatar, though. The Ren's kind of signaling that we're probably not going back into Skyborn, so maybe not such a big worry there. Maybe it's time to fight off this Ren. or Ezra. Hmm. All right. I still like the Reap with the Cloud Kicker to recenter our leader. Let's get a steal in.
Kind of like it.
Yes, we will Reap here. Do we want to do any switches? I think Bucks is fighting, so we probably don't want it to capture.
Oh, you're fighting.
Let's do that. That's fine. I am going to take down this Ezra.
Ezra. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if that was the best thing to fight down. Perhaps Ren would have been better. I don't know. What do you think, JG?
Should I say?
Yeah, go for it.
I've been waiting for you to get rid of that deanimator,
Yeah.
because then that would free up Rose, and then because the red key is forged, you'd be able to use its action twice.
Yeah.
Double fight in there.
Well,
Perhaps
I'm gonna
so.
go Logos here for sure. This is what I was kind of hoping would happen.
Yep, gonna get Effervescent here.
All right. Okay. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Rare case where the
Ooh.
effervescent bonus amber did not hurt you.
Very nice. Steal 2. Did we? Oh, we did steal last turn. Sure did. Red
You
Baron
sure
got in
did.
for those steals.
Sure did.
Deploy an elusive. Interesting. Cool.
Trying to figure this out.
Remote access. Interesting.
Oh.
I don't know which one I'm
Oh
using.
no!
I'm not sure which one I'm using. This one? Okay.
Oh, interesting. Cool.
Is that what you wanted to do?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was like, you can't use its damage. I did.
I know. I'm like, which one?
I see. I see.
Second one's the right choice there. Yeah. Oh, JG, I let you down. Ooh, now the deanimator is going to run amok.
I don't know.
It's going to do things. Run amok might be... interesting.
Man, your draws this game have not been ideal.
This is just what this deck does. I don't know what you mean. This is...
No, I like that though. I think that was an excellent turn. Just wish you could have drawn a better card.
Same.
That's called Geistoid.
Seems legit.
Are we about to get wrecked?
Things are coming. Okay. I am just looking at options here. Cool.
That's kind of cool.
Do we want that? Maybe we do. Yeah, we'll take the archives. Yeah. All right, let's get this nice Geistoid enhanced hologramophone down to finish off
Wow.
Articulated Ren.
No.
I think. Oh, this is an interesting call. So we can't get our own. Maybe I should have discarded that one. Would have been an interesting call too. Okay. Welp. Play this well string. We're gonna ghoul keeping it.
What an insanely good card goalkeeping is.
How did it get past playtesting? I just want to know.
How did it get 2 Geistoid enhances? It is a Mars first with 2 house enhancements.
Insane, you might say. Ooh, Parabyte. I don't like that.
Parabyte's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could have finished that
Yeah.
off. Mm.
Dang.
Funny. And we'll resolve the bonus icons of your effervescent principle, just because that's kind of funny.
All right, we've got lots of options.
Let me make sure I can get back into the game and tell you what option we're going to take.
I can't wait.
I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm pretty excited for this.
Uh-oh. Oh, dear.
Oh dear.
Oh, dear.
That's right.
Is it time for some dis?
All right. 6 amber over there.
Ooh, we're getting Infernal Terror on JDG. It's coming.
There are some options here. There are some juicy options. Oh, we didn't forge.
We
Damn.
didn't. I
Okay,
know,
that
this
wrecks
sucks.
everything.
It does.
Dang. I was so excited.
I know.
Another effervescent? No, you don't have another effervescent.
You stop.
Hey, just asking. Just asking.
All right. Let's go.
Oh, nice.
Let's go dis. Dang.
Okay.
Wanted that key.
Which color did you want?
Can't say.
Mm-hmm. Double tomb. Something's going back to hand. Mm-hmm. Indigo goes back to hand, and we discard RM Fowler. Okay. Parabyte gets fought down. Very cool. Infernal Terran gets played. Nice. To discard Skippy. And nice. Nice.
Very nice.
Very cool. Very cool.
All right.
Lulz.
Despite us having equivalent amber, I'm nervous.
I am a little nervous too. Not gonna lie.
Hmm.
I
Should
really wish I
I?
could forge last turn.
I know. I know. Should I have taken my archives?
Probably, but I could see it. I could see it both way. At first, my gut reaction was like, "Ooh, that's a mistake," but then
Yeah.
I'm coming to grips. I think it was okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, I guess. Wait. Okay. Skyborn.
Nice. Beehawks. Really?
Again.
Again. All right, cool.
Do you have another house? Do you have logos in there?
Still,
We don't have logos here.
still stealing. Still stealing.
Yeah, that red baron's sticking around.
Yep. Kind of want to get rid of that Chauncey again. Kind of feel like you want to go into Skyborn.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Capture. To hmm. Yeah, let's fight into this Chauncey. Each of their neighbors gains taunt. That's cool. Cool. So Indigo's gonna come down, as is Buck's Bastion. We'll toss one amber there. Okay, so Reap.
Got knocked off again. Got knocked off.
Yeah.
Again.
What got knocked off?
He got us off again.
Let's put that there. We're gonna put you here. Put you here. Yeah. Maybe that's not the best. Hmm. Okay. Okay.
That is so brutal.
That is.
We think JDG.
Very good.
Pretty good. Pretty good. You would have left the battle line differently.
Maybe like I'd put Wellstring beside Indigo, so you can fight with it, and then it deals 3 damage. Like when you like, assuming we get the Forge next turn.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Indigar doesn't work with just neighbors. It works with any friendly creature.
Oh wait. Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, gives its neighbors
Okay.
taunt in some cases.
Okay.
Ugh.
Ugh, indeed.
I'm handled.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to leave ourselves with the arrow most likely centered, depending on what they fight off.
Mm-hmm.
If they happen to forge blue at some point, I like having the taunts this way, but
Let's go Dis, I guess.
Interesting.
Uh.
Yeah, just not getting a key has been so brutal this game.
Really is.
You turn on a lot with, I mean, even just what's on board. The Saboteurs coming online would be really brutal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Rose doubling up was also very strong. Fights the Red Baron. Yeah, it probably overstayed its welcome.
It really did.
And we're getting a fight here with the Dust Imp coming into fight. Bucks. Okay.
Hmm. Debating.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
Have you played many games with this one, JDG?
Uh, Not really. Like I think maybe 3 or 4 games.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah, the house enhancements, especially being consolidated all like in Logos, was something. Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause we haven't actually called. No, we called it once at the beginning of the game when we had like a 6 card Logos hand, and I don't think we've called it since then. Yeah.
yeah. Basically, yeah. Seven. Is it seven? One, two, three. Oh no, 6 cards and logos are house enhanced.
Yep. And 5 of those 6 are enhanced into Geistoid.
Yeah.
Jeez, this deck is almost half Geistoid. Okay, Infernal Terran gets a steal. Very nice. Plays a rise.
Nice.
Here they come. Oh, because the Articulated Wren is a Dis Wren. Very cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is a board. That is a board.
Took a while to come together. Might be too late.
It very well could be.
The Arise is so nasty in this deck.
That is spicy.
I don't know what to exhaust. Do I need to?
I don't think I've ever not exhausted with it.
It is optional. Huh. There you go.
Yeah.
Wow. Another one over on daughter. There you go.
I just don't see it. I'm forging next turn, right?
No promises. All right, we got a key. What color
Blue
would you?
key.
Blue key sounds good.
That's not okay.
I can't see what's in your deck easily, but that looks like another bad draw, doesn't it?
It's expected.
Okay.
We have gone through the deck, you might say.
I think we call
Skyborn?
Geistoid.
Whoa.
Colin Geistoid, taking you off this check. This is gonna be great. Just for the moral. Just for the moral.
Are you serious? Are you serious right now?
Maybe we have a chance to.
Oh, you got the veil
You have a
probably.
chance to.
Oh, there's the veil.
Oh,
but
come
there's also-
on.
But I don't know. That in here somewhere is pretty tempting too.
Double pip, yeah.
Double
yeah.
pip.
Bro,
Nope.
if they take this
No,
off
no,
again,
no.
I'm gonna die.
Nope.
Dude, what?
Just it
Oh
has to.
my gosh.
It's got to be that
No.
way.
Dude, no. No.
Hilarious. And I guess we'll smash Mosquito. No, not the Suspended Manor. Maybe the Wren or the Chauncey. I think maybe the Chauncey again. Ugh. Wren feels good. Hmm. So what's the worst you can do with this mosquito?
I
I
can fight with it.
think we're gonna take off some burst potential.
I feel like Chauncey's a witch. Chauncey's so good.
It's doing some stuff here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 captures happening.
That's not okay.
It really isn't.
I guess the question is, do I want the captures or would I rather have this? Do I want the creatures on board or rather have another slime capture and an additional veil capture?
Just stop. You don't forage, we're done.
Yeah, I think I do want the slime on board. 3, 4, 5, 6 captures happening. Yeah, that's fine. Put you over here. Oh, this candle unit's a Geistoid candle unit. I didn't even realize. Hilarious.
Messed up.
Spread that on
Dear
around.
God. There's just nothing. There's nothing.
I have more stuff to do? How do I have more stuff to do? Oh, this is a Geistoid enhance. Jeez. Sure. Arrow gets a ward. Yeah.
Jeez.
I will be
Wasn't even,
honest.
wasn't even close.
No, I will be honest. I didn't realize half of those Geistoid because there were so many Geistoid enhanced things too that it was a lot more capture than what I was counting when I scanned. So that was probably a much sloopier turn than it should have been. Also, yeah.
We'll go dis.
What?
I mean,
Okay. You
Yeah.
said it. All right.
yeah.
Okay.
I think it's the only. I think it's the best option.
Sure. Yeah.
That's big old board. Mm-hmm.
I should have done this.
I probably should have warded it too. Warded that one. Do you have another Chauncey? Did I leave a Chauncey?
You left to Chauncey.
You
Holy
left
moly.
Singular Chauncey.
Dang. Suspend a Manor gets a fight in there.
Cannot play action cards.
No Logos action cards. Got it.
I got a forge. I need it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Um,
Hmm.
You got a key cheat in there?
Me or them?
Them.
okay.
And we
Um,
cannot play logos actions.
yeah.
Mhm.
Skyborn then.
Oh
You
no.
stopped me out of Skyborn?
They do have a key cheat.
Freedom to be? Oh god. What does that do?
They forge it +4, -1 for each Skyborn creature on a flank.
Oh dear god.
I don't know if it's friendly or I think it's total Skyborn creatures on flanks.
Oh, each Skyborn creature. It is not friendly. Wow. Okay, then I guess that'll do it.
Yeah, I think it will.
All right, so
F.
we'll reap with indigo.
Plus
I
4
must.
minus. Oh
Okay.
my god.
Must fight with another friendly creature. Okay. There we go. Put you over here.
Bro. Brutal. This is so bad. Oh dear god.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
What?
What?
Did I miscount?
That should have worked.
6
Reduced
is
by 1. So 4 to
Plus
+1,
4.
right?
10
10 minus
3 is
3.
7.
Is it for each
Plus
sky?
4, but -3.
It must not be counting the opponents.
Must not be.
Oh well, that's too bad.
But it says for each. It does not say friendlies.
Oh, that sucks to be you guys. Wow.
What
Uh-huh.
a misplay, Jesus.
I know. Wow.
And you could have ready and fought with a friendly guy.
Okay, so we have to win twice. Is that what we're saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Play it as it
Yes.
lies.
Oh my gosh, these
Um,
guys. These
Make
guys.
sure you file your bug report with TCO.
All right, you get your key. We're gonna try and win twice. What the heck? Oh yeah. That's a win in the books for us, JDG. We're calling it.
Yep.
That's what you think.
Yeah, that was some malarkey.
All right, we're going red key.
Red key.
It's a,
Oh,
it's a
perfect.
it's a
Perfect
pi-
flank open here. This
pity
is going to be
key.
great.
You guys taking a pity key? I'm
Going
ashamed.
Skyborn here, B-Hawk.
Gaborn.
Skyborn and winning this
Skyborn.
game.
Yeah, we're gonna see this against all flags. That's been hiding all game.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah.
Waha.
There it is. Let's go.
Destroy an enemy creature. What is that? Is that a mineral counter? I thought that was a ward.
It is a mineral counter
Mm-hmm.
on arrow.
I think I'm just gonna go down the line.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Love it.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
See, that's all it would have taken was like just The red
Just one
key
key.
would have swung this game way earlier.
Lot of couldas. All right.
A lot of shouldas, you might say.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I'm actually curious if there was an errata to freedom to be.
Oh, was there?
I don't think so, but I'm gonna have to look it up. That's kind of weird. I don't even know where to look for that anymore.
I think I trust each skyborn creature on a flank. Let's see if there's been a report filed for it already. Bum 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 bum.
I think we go logos.
I like it. Okay, logos it is. This is actually kind of fun. We have an awful lot of Geistoid across. I guess not that many enhanced things here, but you have a much better Vespilon Theorist than in other decks. Okay, just take the Terran off the board, probably. Well, Info Exchange is going to grab 2. That's awfully nice.
Damn.
Placeholder is going to move your... Well, actually, maybe just giving you outs here. That was kind of dumb. But we're committed. We're going to get to arise that and then smash a full handful.
There are just no pips.
No, very few
There,
picks.
there are 4 pips in this deck. Oh my god.
Okay, we archived a Geistoid card. So it's still not changing this math, though. We're going to reap here and still choose Geistoid. Oh, look, another Geistoid.
Nice.
And play this one, and then we're going to distribute some wards. Arrow gets one.
Bull. Blah.
I guess let's give one to Fuller. And let's do one on Skippy. Sure. Cool.
What do I do? What do I do? What color
Well,
key?
we've got a shot here. Let's do yellow.
Yellow.
And let's go logos.
Wow, you're really... We got a slim shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1 in 18.
Oh, here
This
comes
is the smallest of shots.
It's a Hail Mary for the effervescent to burn 5 for your own hammer. I like it.
I mean, might as well just rip the band-aid off right now.
Mm.
Is there any good after fight effects? And after reap? Go ahead and mineralize that guy.
At least it decenters it. Their own theorist. Very nice.
Oh gosh. There's just no chance. I need a ready fight. That's an action. No after fight anything.
Neat.
So he can't reap. And he can't do anything.
Yeah, that's interesting. Interesting remote access with the deanimator. That's pretty cool. I love the deanimator shenanigans.
It is kind of like hard R.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, especially if you combine with Skippy, you can 1-2 punch. You can 1-2 punch something. To remote access the thing. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay, well, that's it. That's all she wrote.
It was a good one.
Good game.
It was so close. All we needed was that red key, and I feel like it would have swung for us.
So which part was close, the first game or the second game of this 2-0?
There was only one game.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
dead. I'm dead.
Yeah. Well, this is an interesting matchup though, for sure. Man, I thought that I don't know. There was, I mean, not much seed going around for sure.
Nope.
Did you think about deanimating one of your own deanimators on the first pass to like make the second one just kind of like always work? I always wonder about that.
No, I've never thought of that. Did I
I
ever
didn't
have
think that.
two at once?
Yeah, it's a thing you can do, but I didn't think it was right because I think that you just want to build as wide of a board as you can here.
Hmm.
And it's also the removal, like
Yeah. Yeah, I
one of 7.
gets the leader out of the center of the board too, which is pretty nice. Yeah, freedom to be. For some reason I had always thought that freedom to be was friendly and had to like did a double take when I read it because the first time I was looking at that turn I thought we were one short.
Hmm.
But I'll have to read the card. My sloppy lab worker deck has 3 copies of Deanimator,
Whoa.
and I'm pretty sure that I want to be making mineralize one of them on the first pass.
Yeah.
That's cool.
With 3 of them, I could see that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's a cool strat.
It's cool times, but freedom to be much better. Well, much better. I don't know how often the enemy flank Skyborns come up, but I didn't realize. I always thought it was a key charge with an extra tax. Cool. All right, GG peeps, fun times.
Well,
Yeah.
GG, thank you for playing. This
Good
has been
game.
fun. Congrats on making it 100 episodes.
Thank you.
Yeah, congrats to the old lab, as it were. This is
Yeah.
fun.
100%.
Hundo P. All right, chat. Thanks for
Hey,
hanging out
guys.
too. Wow.
Yeah, I gotta sleep, but I'll see you all next week.
See you soon
At KFC.
at KFC. Indeed. All right, night, y'all.